This is Doc Ock with a special message for my people. That's why I'm here today. And I want you to note, in particular, this gentleman back here. Back in the day, this brother, colleague of my father, Henry Dumas, one of our African America's great poets, one of the world's great poets, internationally known now. He wrote about Black people being shot by cops. 1960s, 1950s. He was writing about that. And then one day, he was visiting some people in New York City, went to go get on the subway train. And lo and behold, he had an encounter with a cop, Transit Authority, New York City Transit Authority. And they shot him down in cold blood. So I know about these things. That's just one incident from my childhood that I can recall. I went to Kent State. Well, I grew up here in Kent, Ohio, to a large extent. I was here when the students got shot, 4 dead in Ohio. I lived through the Rodney King insurrection, the LA insurrection. I saw the cops in a shootout with a brother in the streets of LA. I felt the heat from those burning buildings as it blasted out of those buildings like a blast furnace. So this ain't nothing new. If you've lived a little while, you may have seen some of these things yourself. Some of you young folks, this may be the first time you're seeing anything like this. Well, all I have to say about it is keep calm and carry on. Keep calm and carry on. Now that came out, that's a quote that the British, or a trope, that's a British trope that they used during World War II. Keep calm and carry on. Why do they say that? Because the Germans were bombing the shit out of them. That's why they said it. Okay? They were bombing the palaces of the King of England, while they were there. You know, they just escaped with their lives. Did they run up and down the streets yelling and screaming like they lost their goddamn minds? No. They walked outside and went on an inspection to see the damage that had been done to the castle. Why? Because they knew how to keep calm and carry on. Now, in a situation like that, if you cannot keep calm and carry on, you become what is known as a reactionary. And reactionaries are very easy to deal with because all you have to do is poke them and you know what their reaction is going to be before they ever react. So who's in control of that person who reacts when they get poked? Is the person that got poked in charge of themselves? Are they the ones controlling what they do? Or is the person that poked them in charge of what they do? This is something we have to deal with as teachers in school every single day, day in and day out. The children always have some kind of incident where somebody did something to them and they, quote unquote, overreacted. Now, I'm not saying that what's going on right now in Minneapolis necessarily is a quote unquote overreaction, but I am saying it's not intelligent. Why do I say it's not intelligent? I say it's not intelligent because when you do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result, that's the definition of insanity. I don't know if it's clinical insanity, what kind of insanity it is. I don't know. You put a name on it exactly what kind of insanity that is, but it's straight up, as we say in English, crazy. And that's crazy with a capital K-R-A-Z-Y. Crazy. So at this point, we need to keep calm, carry on. We're seeing the news reports. Don't watch the news all day long. This is my advice to you. Don't watch the news all day long. Watch it for a while and turn it off. Watch something else. The Lone Ranger. You can watch that. It's just some, regular shooting and looting. Okay. May not get you as quite as upset. But just watch enough of the news to have an idea of what's going on, but not so much to make your blood boil all day long, because all that's going to do is create stress on you. So who's suffering from that? You are. The people that are creating the stress, they're not suffering. They're not suffering worth a whit, because you're doing all their suffering for them. So I wanted to say that, but I want to also relate it back to our group. Now, on next week, Monday, we're going to start a new segment. Our new segment is going to be based on the works of Henry Dumas, whose picture I showed you earlier. Okay. And we're going to start with this book here. If you have the book, look over the book. If you don't have the book, get a copy of the book. If you can't get it from the library, go to Amazon, see if you can find it there. Maybe you can find it on Amazon. If you can't find it there, look for it on eBay. Poetry for My People. Now, this is a book everybody in America should read. All Black people definitely should read the book. We should know about the poems of Henry Dumas. Why? Because this is a voice from the depth. This is his voice. All his writings were published posthumously. So that's after the police shooting. And they were all done by one of my father's proteges. So he took the time to gather up the man's works and make sure that they got published. And that's why we can sit here and read his poetry today, because he has a message for us. He has a message for us in these poems. We need to see, what is that message? What is the message he was giving us about these very same kinds of incidents that have been happening in America for over 100 years? But we know that we had fighters out there like Ida B. Wells that were fighting lynchings going on at least 100 years back. Never did get the anti-lynch law passed. So this is nothing new. Therefore, in our group, the Center of Pan-African Culture, that group is not designed for a number of posts. I don't want to see no snuff films in there. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to see no snuff films in there. That's not the place. If you want to put up a video, which there's more than one video of George Floyd being killed by the police, put it in Strange Fruit. We got another group that to document all of these kinds of incidents. So if you want to find them, you go there. You know right where to go. I don't want to clutter up the Center of Pan-African Culture with a bunch of snuff films, because we got one happening every single day. It's becoming overwhelming. If you see go back and check out the interview with Taraji Henson on NBC yesterday. The sister had a hard time keeping it together. Why? Because she said it's just too much. Every single day, there's a new incident that we have to be aware of. We process it mentally. We have to deal with it spiritually, and it's weighing on us. So we need to be able to do something they call compartmentalize. That's what I'm trying to do. Compartmentalize. Strange Fruit. That's where you put any information about any incidents like that. It goes over there. Center of Pan-African Culture. It speaks for itself. We're dealing with things having to do with culture. Now, if you got a poem, if you got a song, if you got a skit you want to do about these kind of things, fine. You can put it there, because then it's cultural. So you can culturally speak to it, but it has to be in a cultural format. Thank you very much. I'm making this a video because it's been very difficult to get these messages across. And I had to earlier deal with the whole thing about the COVID-19. Yes, we want to know about COVID-19. We want to know how to survive COVID-19 while Black. We want to do all those kind of things. But I don't want to clutter up the Center of Pan-African Culture with COVID-19 stuff unless you're coming, it's something cultural. I don't want a whole bunch of shared news documentations. I don't want all that in there. If you want to see that, turn on your TV and go to NBC. You can see that all day. Go to CNN. They're doing it all day, 24/7, 365. Go there, please. Okay? So, I hope you don't think I'm speaking to you like a child. I am a teacher. Many of the people in my group are younger than me, so I'm not trying to be condescending. All I'm trying to do is just get people to think before you leap. Now, last point I'm going to make. In terms of these the riots, etc., and the looting and the shooting that's going on, we're seeing it on the news, but we really don't know, because we're not there, who's doing what, when, and where. Now, during the Rodney King insurrection in LA, people that were not in LA and that did not go out in the streets like I did while it was jumping off probably thought it was black folks tearing up LA. Turns out that was not the majority of the people tearing the town up. A lot of damage was done by the Hispanic community, because what? California is primarily Hispanic now. So it was not necessarily black folks doing all the damage to our own communities, as some of us may think. That's false. Patently false. In this case in Minneapolis, we don't know. I'm looking at the news reports. I'm not seeing nothing but black folks in the streets. I'm seeing a lot of people in the streets that are not black. I don't know who they are, where they came from, but it is not us tearing up our neighborhood. It's somebody else, some other people tearing up our neighborhood. So we need to think before we leap. Don't run out there in the streets and jump up in front of a National Guardsman with a what do they call it? An M16, an AK-47, or whatever the model is of killing weapon they're using today. Don't do that stuff. That's not smart. It's not intelligent. The students at Kent State did that. Why? Because they thought the guns weren't loaded. They thought they were using rubber bullets. But when that bullet hits you in the chest and you're bleeding all over the ground, it's too late to realize that you were wrong. You were not right. So be intelligent, be good, think before you leap, and please join some of our other groups. We have a group called Surviving COVID-19 While Black. Okay? Go over there. You put all your COVID-19 stuff. If you have some things you want to talk about or you want to deal with in terms of all of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Trayvon, whoever you want to talk about in that respect, in terms of these lynchings, then you go to Strange Fruit. They're groups that we have on Facebook, and we set them up purposely so that if you want anybody that wants to know about those particular things, they know where to go. They don't have to try to filter through and search through all the other stuff trying to find something. So I appreciate everybody's cooperation, and I'll be looking forward. We're going to be having a special this weekend. I haven't determined exactly what it'll be. You know what? Maybe we'll do some poetry on tomorrow, on Saturday. We'll just do a poetic interlude, and I'll read a number of poets, including some poems by Henry Dumas. So you know what? I'm gonna do a live stream on Saturday. It may be a little probably longer than 10 minutes, probably more like 20 minutes, maybe 30 on Saturday, but it'll still be at noon, because this is still Doc Ock at noon and 9. And of course, we'll do the children's thing at 9 o'clock. All right. So I saw a number of people watching out there. Also, I'm getting a phone call from somebody. I don't know who it is. Let's see if I can resume here. Resume. There we go. All right. I see you out there, Gina. I see you out there. Was that Connie? It was somebody there. Yidam. I see Yidam out there. All right. So pass the word. Tell your friends. We're just trying to keep it together, 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 keep it together. That's the watchword for today. Keep it together. Thank you very much. Peace out, y'all.